And welcome back to All Over the Map. Thanks for tuning in. On this episode, we've got news of the day for the 1st of July, 2023. It's the game that we bring to you that features 5 news events or sports events or crazy events from around the world that we try to locate on a GeoGuessr map. As many of us out there have a hard time finding out where these things are happening, these news events, these sporting events. It's good to see, good to play a game along with it and learn a little bit about it. So we normally play this game as a no time limit, moving, panning, zooming allowed challenge. That's what we're going to do today. The play along link for the game will be in the description below, as will the 5 news articles that we'll feature today will be in the description below. If you could hit the like button, that would really appreciate it. Really helps the channel. And let's go find the first news event of the day. And we got the Brazilian flag. Not sure what flag that is. Mercosul. Well, looks like a football pitch, by the way. Pretty nice location here. Well, what is this? It looks like the residence of the president of Brazil. And why is that important? Well, judge banned Bolsonaro from running, the former president of Brazil, for office for 8 years over appalling lies. Former far-right leader will only be able to seek elected office once again in 2030, when he will be 75. The political future of Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, has been cast into doubt after electoral judges banned him from running for office for 8 years for abusing his powers and peddling immoral and appalling lies during last year's equanimous election. 5 of the Superior Electoral Court's 7 judges voted to banish the far-right radical who relentlessly vilified the South American country's democratic institutions during his unsuccessful battle 22nd term in power. 2 voted against the decision. So he will be 75 when he could essentially be in this location, which is the residence of the president of Brazil here in Brasilia, which is interesting. I think there's probably a similar thing in the United States with the former President Trump, but we'll see what happens there. Time will only tell when it comes to this. And I thought to feature this one, just it's unique because we don't get many articles from Brazil. I guess there's a lot of news events, obviously Brazil, but we don't feature this often on All Over the Map, but we should. We should play Brazilian games, so I thought this news event most people may or may not be aware of, and may not be aware of that Brasilia, I think, is the capital that was formed here. Like I think this palace was built, or the presidential palace, whatever they call this, was built in the 1950s or 60s, as was the city. And I know there's some of you out there that might have some more information on why that happened and why the capital was moved inland. As you see here, it's a little different the way that it's set up in terms of the streets, the roads. You got a north wing, south wing, and all that stuff. But here we are. It's Palácio da Alvorada is where the modernist home of Brazil's president resides in Brasilia. So Bolsonaro will not be seeing that for a long time. By the way, it looks like I've got a new avatar, which my kids helped me out with. One of the new avatars, but All Over the Map, I guess, is gone. So there we go. That was the first news event of the day. 5,000 points, and we're going to go off to the next one. And we have, look at this, a beautiful castle. It's Finland. Yes, we do feature Finnish news event or sporting event. And the reason why we do that is because a lot of you that tune in are from Finland. I think like 60-something% are Finnish viewers regularly. But if you're from a country that I don't feature often, comment down below. Love to hear from you. That would also help. Any comments, anything like this. Let's look at this. This is a interesting castle. Beautiful location, by the way. And a nice city or town here. And why is this being featured? Well, it's a unique article on a couple different fronts. One for me personally, and another just because it features Finland. I know there's been some interesting Finnish news going on with different leaders, graffiti in the streets of Helsinki, and other things going on that I think most of you might be aware of in Finland that I don't need to necessarily include in this game. But I thought this was an interesting one because it's all Finnish heavyweight boxer Helenius to take a career-defining fight at Savonlinna, which is a city I've been getting quite often on these maps. If you follow the channel, I've been getting Savonlinna quite a bit. I know it. It's just like Oulu. These are two cities that I'm going to visit when I visit Finland in the near future. And I didn't realize this Ovenlina Castle is right on the outskirts of Savonlinna. So this article here by Tony Oberg, great article. I highly recommend you read the whole thing. I'll just cap the first part of it. But Finland today spoke with Finnish heavyweight boxer Robert Helenius about his upcoming fight at the castle. We'll also take a look at who exactly his opponent is. It's Mika Milonen. But as you see here, there's Robert standing in front of the castle back in 2018. But he lost last October at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, when he said he was done with life in the boxing ring, a boxer for 25 years. In amateur fights, he now seems to want to focus on a life outside of the squared circle. He has a wife and 3 children in the Åland Islands, and he is involved in the construction business. But he will be fighting 10 months later from his last bout on August 5th as he steps into the ring against another Finn, Mika Milonen, 42. So a bunch of folks around my general age, 42, 39. So that's interesting to see that they continue to fight, just like Tom Brady did with quarterbacking for Tampa Bay and the National Football League. It's good to see people in my general age still competing at a high level. But this one will be take place at this Savonlinna castle known as Ovenlina in the heart of the Lake Saimaa region in South Savonia. So, wow, I guess if we take a look at this, I guess the fight will be occurring in the castle, which is pretty cool, August 5th. You know, if I didn't have commitments to business and work and family, I might go. This might be an opportunity in August to go to a fight. I'm a big boxing fan, but I will watch boxing. I've done boxing before, kickboxing, from more of a fitness standpoint. But this is a city that I'm pretty familiar with, I think down in this area over here. And it would be cool to visit this place, especially for a fight like this. So let's find out where this is on the GeoGuessr map. Savonlinna is a place that I've been, that I'm familiar with, but not necessarily this castle. And let's go over here to Savonlinna. I always say Olavinlina, the 15th century fortress with museums. I think we're right about there. Let's go for that. So yeah, boxing match to occur in a castle in Finland. Pretty cool. Pretty cool about that. All right. Well, we go from boxing to uncontrolled, I guess, fighting or whatever's going on here in France, Nanterre, on the outskirts or just outside of Paris here. A lot of stuff going on in France, Paris, over the past day or two with riots throughout the country and a lot of things going on. And France riots rocked by killing and unrest, which I've seen some stuff on Twitter. By the way, check me out on Twitter if you haven't checked me out. Put a lot of stuff up there, travel stuff, different things. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff on my Twitter feed around crazy things, like AK-47s, people driving into a Lidl store. Just nuts, just crazy. But what's happened is you'll find out what's going on here is police shot dead a 17-year-old boy of Algerian descent last Tuesday. And yeah, things have kind of spiraled out of control a bit here. Yeah, so we see here people living in Nanterre have endured several nights of violence, including looting and rioting. And it just seems to be getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. But yeah, the article's here. Let's figure out where this actually occurred in France. And this actual location, which is just west, or just west of Paris here in Nanterre. But things are happening all over the country. So if you have any insight, any thoughts on anything, comment down below. Love to hear as you play these games what your thoughts are. There's a place there, tacos and rolls. Sounds like a good place to eat. At least that's there's Lidl, and I'm not sure if that's Lidl, but they're all over. But I saw a car just driving straight into the front of it, just crazy. You know, I know that's not good that happened. That shouldn't happen to that, in my personal opinion, to that. There's a big problem with that. You want to have police security, protection but you're there to serve. That's my whole thing with police is people there, the police force are there to serve the people. You got to be part of the people, but you also can't get too aggressive as well. But this is a sad situation all around. However, there needs to also be rule of law. You just can't go looting and stealing and all that stuff. I can understand why people would go crazy, but at a certain point, let's try to do the right thing here across the board, from the police to the people, all that stuff. So that's what I have to say about that. France hopefully gets better soon, and Nanterre and around France. All right, so let's get off to the next news event of the day. And it's French related once again, Tour de France. Well, this isn't France. This is Spain. Some people might not think it's Spain. It could be the Basque region or their own country, which is a whole other conversation for another day. Watching this morning, I was creating a game, the opening stage of the Tour de France, Bilbao in Spain. But it's amazing how many Basque flags. I don't think I've seen so many Basque flags in my entire life as I've had this morning here. So anybody from the Basque Country, or anybody been, comment down below. But here it is, beautiful city this. In fact, well, there's a guy getting off of an elevator. I'm not sure why there's an elevator there. But anyway, beautiful city. First stage coming to a close here in Bilbao, Spain. And like I said, again, another interesting location. I did see, though, where one of the top bike riders in Spain actually watched it live with my kids. Biker fell off his bike, messed up his knees a little bit, and is out of the race. I think he finished the race, but finished the stage, I should say, but won't probably compete, which is crazy on the first day of the Tour de France. And the other thing I thought about this is, how's the security going to go with fears of protests and civil unrest throughout France, because right now they're in Spain. But it seems like, yeah, they've ramped up security as race organizers brace themselves for a double dose of disruption, both from climate change activists, which I didn't really see or haven't seen or read. I guess that's one thing. And then you've got the civil unrest with the issue in right outside of Paris. So that's interesting. Keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this one to see how that unfolds. I don't know if there's going to be any impact. There could be, but we'll see. We'll see about this. We'll stay tuned. We'll keep an eye on this on News of the Day here and all over the map. But we're going to try to find where the actual location is. I also want to bring up a map here. Here, the 110th Tour de France. Again, I'll put the links to this in the description below of where it starts. We're starting here in Bilbao, Spain, again, Basque Country. And as you see the different stages, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll go through. Yeah, we'll see the impact of any type of riots if that continues through the different parts of France and to the stage. Because, yeah, I just want to watch the Tour de France, but other things happen. News happens every day where news and sports collide here on the Tour de France. So let's find out where this is. This is the first stage. Again, I'm not really sure why this starts here. I know it started before in the Netherlands. I think somebody probably can inform me on this or inform the viewers of why or what's the reasoning and the rationale starting in different parts of the regions around France. And the other thing I just saw here is Cape Breton or Cap Breton. I know this is the Basque region. I wonder if Cape Breton in Canada has anything to do with that. That's interesting. I just see these things and I think about it. So there's the Guggenheim Bilbao Museum. We're on the bridge here, Puente de la Salve. And there we are. Beautiful city. One city I'd probably like to visit at some point in the future. So let's go off to the fifth and final round. We got an airplane. Well, we have an airplane and a terminal, which is interesting and pretty cool nonetheless. But what airport is this? Somebody's maybe uploading a video to YouTube. Here, American Airlines. The Carolina Beer Company sounds like a place. This is where I'd be if I flew to Finland or different parts around the world. I'd be hitting the Carolina Beer Company before heading off. But we're at Charlotte, USA. Welcome to Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Well, what's going on here? Well, Delta flight declares emergency as nose landing gear fails on approach to Charlotte Airport. One of my fears. Not saying fear of flying, but fear of something happening to a plane like this. It drive me crazy. But the airline says its crews are rigorously trained to deal with many emergency scenarios. None of the passengers were hurt, which is always a good story. It's a good way to end this game on a positive story. It could have been a disastrous story, but as you see here, most of you might not know this. But a Delta flight was forced to do an emergency landing after the nose landing gear failed to come down. The plane traveling from Atlanta to Charlotte, which is a short trip, circled as it tried to fix the problem, but the passengers were eventually told to get in the brace position. You see the plane there, and we see it here, the nose gear. There is, and I'll try to link to this, there is a Twitter video, I saw this on Twitter, where a person actually was taking a picture as they were landing. And the one thing I thought was how calm everybody was on that flight. I'd probably be going nuts if that was happening and knew that the nose gear wasn't working. But kudos and props to the pilots for landing that plane safely. Good way to end this game. We'll find out where this happened. So again, Atlanta to Charlotte, very, very short flight. I got to think you could probably, it's been a while since I've done this on the road, but let's say that's about 3 hours or less. In the United States, we drive everywhere. So to go from Charlotte to Atlanta, not a far drive at all. Big rivals, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers in the NFL, Georgia, North Carolina, and college sports, maybe not so much. But you also have the Atlanta United in Major League Soccer against Charlotte FC, another big rivalry. But let's try to find out where this airport is. Charlotte Douglas International Airport, which I have not flown into, and I'm not sure where it is. As I did this map, there it is, right, not too far away from the city. And I think we were right about there. Let's go for that. Charlotte Douglas International Airport, the Carolina Beer Company, the Admirals Club, Chick-fil-A, and Starbucks. So we got 24,998. We was on the last one there. A great game this was of different news events. I think it was a little bit, try to get a little variety for this one instead of being, so centric to one area or not. But we got the United States, we got Brazil, we got some European rounds, we got the Finnish game. So there we are. News of the day for July 1st, 2023. If you got any news events or anything you want to be featured on this channel, send me an email at alloverthemap23@gmail.com. With that said, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, cheers.